Hey friends, it's Eric, and today we're going to quickly compare the Aqara E1 curtain motor versus the brand new SwitchBot Curtain 3. And by the end of this video, you're going to know which one is better and right for you. Now, the first thing that you need to compare and know is the size of your rod. Now, I'm going to be comparing the rod versions. Obviously, there's the rail version, U rail. This video is about putting and installing these on a rod. Now, the Aqara can do rods. Now, you have to measure this with a tool from 25 to 32 millimeters thick, or the diameter. If it's not within that range, it will not work. Where the SwitchBot Curtain 3 has a much broader range between 15 millimeters and 40 millimeters. So if you're not quite sure what size rod you have, you can measure with this little tool. They're fairly cheap and easy to find here on Amazon. Now, depending on the length of your rod, you might have a transition piece from one side of the rod to the other side of the rod. A lot of these rods are extendable and customizable just by pulling them apart. But then you have this transition where one side of the rod enters into the other. Now, previous models of the SwitchBot always had a problem with this transition, and it would get stuck. Luckily, this new SwitchBot 3, their motors are a lot stronger, and they've never had any issues getting over that hump. And when it came to the Aqara motor, I'm not able to test this type of transition simply because of the rod size limitation. As you can see here, when it came over to the right side of the rod, which is a lot smaller, it just disengaged and I had to get a whole new rod. So depending on what size rod that you have and if you have a transition or not, you might have an issue. Nice thing is that SwitchBot does include this little transition sticker with a little metal thing that will help transition the motor from one side of the rod to the other. I didn't need to use that in my testing, but if you have a harder transition, it's nice to know that SwitchBot does include this little piece. And when it comes to the amount of weight that these little motors can push, the Aqara can push up to 26.4 pounds. So if you have heavy curtains, they max out at 26.4. With a new SwitchBot 3, they've doubled the limit between the last motor and this one. Now this one can go up to 33 pounds. So if you have heavier curtains, the SwitchBot Curtain 3 is a better choice. And when it comes to the battery life, Aqara says it has about 12 months battery life. This does use Zigbee, and you have to connect it to a Zigbee hub, which you have to purchase separately to be able to use this. And when it comes to SwitchBot, they have a 8-month battery, and it uses Bluetooth, so it can connect directly to your phone. However, you probably still want to pick up SwitchBot Hub 2 to get into your smart home platform of choice, which both of these platforms, they have Matter support, so you can bring it into any platform that is Matter certified. Now, the SwitchBot also has an option for a solar panel, and this is a brand new solar panel from SwitchBot that actually hangs down from the motor. Their last one clipped onto their motor, or you could clip it on to the curtains itself, but this one is actually much better designed, where it hangs down and you can kind of tilt it to get that more direct sunlight. Unfortunately, if you are on the other side of the window and you can see that solar panel is more of an eyesore. It's not a huge deal, but if you are someone that looks out the outside of the window, looking at the back side of the curtains, you'll definitely see it. This solar panel also has a light sensor on it, so you can definitely automate off that data from the light sensor, where the Aqara has a light sensor built onto the curtain bot itself. Also found that the automations for this light sensor on the Aqara app didn't work as well as the one in the SwitchBot app. Both of these motors have a feature where you can pull on the curtain just a little bit and it will close the rest of the curtain for you. I found that feature to be very useful because sometimes you just want to walk by and just give it a little tug, and you don't have to go into your phone or use voice first activation. You can just give it a little tug and it's going to finish the closing or opening for you. Both these also have some sort of quiet mode, so if you're a light sleeper and you don't want to be woken up by the sound of these motors, which, by the way, I'll play the sound and you can see which one's louder. when they're in quiet mode, you can really not hear either one of these. The SwitchBot is going to open a lot faster using a slower motor, which has variable speed. Where the Aqara does this start and stop motion, it makes a little bit of a sound, but if you're sleeping, it's so short that you're really not going to hear it. You can see it working here, and you can listen also. And when it comes to the app, they're both very user friendly. They both incorporate with your favorite smart home platform. So which one would I recommend? Well, actually, when I got the Aqara one, I had to get a new rod, which I was kind of upset about. It was really hard to find a rod that would fit this. I actually ended up with some electrical conduit that I had to spray paint black to match my decor. And I also had to install these little clips with the little straps in between because of that larger diameter. It just wouldn't pull. So I was a little disappointed there. It's not a bad motor. It's just very limited to what size rod that you have. You have to be between that 25 and 32 millimeters. It was nice to see when it came out that it did heavier curtains. But now with this new SwitchBot Curtain 3, you have that broad range of rod sizes, and it can handle even heavier curtains. I think it's a no-brainer to go for the SwitchBot Curtain 3. Obviously, having a longer battery life is a huge plus, but I think as long as you get enough sunlight and you're willing to pay a couple extra dollars for that solar panel, I think in the long run, it would be a better purchase. All right, guys, I hope this video was helpful. I'll see you guys on the next one. Thanks for watching.